Hi guys, today is December 3rd in the evening for you. You are watching these notes for section 6.1. Please complete the notes that you have, and for extra credit, if you'd like, you may do section 6.1 homework. Even if you don't choose to do section 6.1 homework, you are responsible for that material. Okay, if I go too fast today, then just pause the video and write down what you need to, and then start it up again. All right, here we go. We are starting in chapter 6. We're going to look at classifying quadrilaterals. A quadrilateral is a four-sided polygon. And recall, a polygon is a closed plane figure whose sides are segments. There are 7 types of special quadrilaterals. If you want to pause the video and grab some colored pencils to help you designate all the different ideas, you can do so. And the first one we're going to talk about is a parallelogram. And a parallelogram, by definition, is a quadrilateral with both pairs of opposite sides parallel. When we mark that in the diagram, and here's where the color comes in nice. We have one pair of sides parallel here, and another pair of sides here. A rhombus is a parallelogram with 4 congruent sides. That rhombus is a parallelogram, so it has the properties of the both pairs opposite sides parallel, and it has an additional property of all 4 sides are congruent. So since a rhombus is a parallelogram, it has the same markings as a parallelogram, and then it has one additional piece of information. And that additional piece of information is that all 4 sides are congruent. So these guys, all 4 sides are congruent. A rectangle is a parallelogram with 4 right angles. So again, just like the rhombus, since a rectangle is a parallelogram, it has parallel sides. So we can go ahead and put those markings in. And it has 4 right angles. We can mark those 4 right angles. A square is a parallelogram with 4 congruent sides and 4 right angles. since that square is a parallelogram, we still have the parallel stuff going on. We also have the four congruent sides like a rhombus had. And it has the four right angles like a rectangle. And here's where sometimes it gets a little bit tough for you in geometry. You're used to thinking about your preschool stuff. A square is a special case of a rectangle. A rectangle only has to be a parallelogram with four right angles. A square is a parallelogram. It has four right angles. It happens to also have four congruent sides, but it has four right angles. So a square is a rectangle. Likewise, a square is a rhombus. A rhombus has to be a parallelogram with four congruent sides. That square has four congruent sides, so it's a rhombus. It happens to also have four right angles, but it is a rhombus as well. A kite. Okay, now we're out of the quadrilaterals, out of the parallelograms, and a kite is a quadrilateral, so four sides, with two pairs of adjacent sides, congruent, but opposite sides are not congruent. And you can do a not congruent there by writing a congruent symbol and then putting a slash through it. That means not congruent. So in this kite, we have two pairs of sides that are congruent. This pair and this pair up top. And then this pair down here. But opposite sides are not congruent. These two are not congruent, these two are not congruent. That eliminates the possibility that that kite is a square. A trapezoid is a quadrilateral with exactly one pair of opposite sides parallel. Trapezoid, one pair of sides is parallel. The other pair is not. And a special case of a trapezoid is an isosceles trapezoid. An isosceles trapezoid is a trapezoid with the two non-parallel sides are congruent. Trapezoid. So we have one pair of opposite sides parallel, and then the non-parallel sides are congruent to each other. Non-parallel sides are congruent. Yes, you need to memorize these definitions. Okay, so moving on. Sometimes we can draw a graphical or a picture arrangement of these figures so you can get a better idea of how they all fit together, if you will. This is kind of the main box up here. And quadrilaterals are up here. And then quadrilaterals are divided into three main sections. We have a section of kites, a section of parallelograms, and those parallelograms get more specialized. And then also quadrilaterals break into the trapezoids. Trapezoids specialize to isosceles trapezoids. Parallelograms break into two groups, a rectangle and a rhombus. And when the property of a rectangle and a rhombus come back together and we get all the properties of a rectangle and a rhombus, we get a square. All right, let's take a look at some examples. Judging by the appearance or the markings, I want you to classify each quadrilateral. So these guys right here, I want you to go by appearance. Meaning, what do they look like? What do they look like? And these last three down here, I want you to look at the markings. All right, so going by appearance, what does that look like? Got your guess? It's a rhombus. Four sides are congruent. There's your rhombus. How about this one? What does that look like? Write down a guess. That's a trapezoid. And how about this last one? Don't be tripped up because it's turned on the page. You turn it this way. Now do you see a square? It is a square. All right, these guys down here, we have to look at the markings. Got four right angles. Your choices are rectangle or square, but since the sides are not marked, it is purely a rectangle. How about this one? One pair of opposite sides parallel. The non-parallel sides are congruent. Isosceles trapezoid. I-S-O-S-C-E-L-E-S. And this last one over here, kind of a weirdo shape, got a bunch of different markings on it. There's nothing special about this one. This is just a plain quadrilateral. No specials. All right. Let's look at a couple of problems here. All right, we're going to solve for each variable, then find the length of each side. LIFE is a rhombus. LIFE is a rhombus. That means that all four sides are congruent. If all four sides are congruent, then any two of them are congruent. You can match up any two to be equal to each other. I'm going to choose these two. 2x minus 3 equals 3x minus 10. Solve this, subtract the 2x, add the 10, x is 7. What if you chose two different sides? How about these two? 2x minus 3 and an x plus a 4. Still get x equals 7. On this one, it doesn't matter which two sides you set congruent to each or equal to each other because all four sides are congruent. We are not finished here though. We found x. X is 7, but I asked you to find the length of each side. So we plug that 7 back in, and we get 11 on all 4 sides. All right, so far? All right, look at this one over here. FOUR is a kite. That means 2 sides are congruent here, and another set of 2 sides are congruent. With that information then, we can go ahead and set up some equations. Since these 2 are congruent, then 3x plus 12 must equal 5x minus 14. Solve that equation. 2x is 26. X is 13. We just figured out that x is 13. We might as well sub it back in. 3 times 13 is 39. 39 plus a 12 is 51. Check it down here. 5 times 13, 65. 65 minus 14, it is also 51. And those 2 better come out to be the same. Okay, let's do the y's. Actually, you guys pause the video, solve the y on your own, and then come back and check it in a moment. Seriously, pause the video, solve for y, check your answer. Y is 6, and when we substitute that back in, 48 minus 1 is 47. 18 and 29, also 47. Okay. All right, this is the last problem for today. Find the measure of each angle in the trapezoid, ROSE. ROSE. Okay, trapezoid. So, one pair of opposite sides are parallel. Well, we do know that the 4 angles in any quadrilateral add up to be 360. Remember that? 4 angles in any quadrilateral add up to 360. It's not going to help us in this very much though, because we've got x's and y's. So I'm going to need you to remember back to when we did parallel lines before, and I always had you extend out the parallel and extend a transversal. Look at this transversal sitting right here. See these 2 angles, this 5x plus 9 and that x plus 12? Those are same side interior angles. So they are supplementary, which means that these 2 have to add up to be 180. So we can say x plus 12 plus 5x plus 9 equals 180. Combining like terms. Subtract that 21. Divide this out. 6 goes into 15 twice with a remainder of 3. 6 goes into 39 6 times with a remainder of 3, but there's no known numbers, so we have 3/6. So x is 26 1/2. All right, you're going to have to take that 26 and a half, and you have to substitute it back in. This one's easy. 26 and a half plus 12, that's 38 and a half. 5 times 26 and a half plus a 9, if you do that on a calculator, we'll get 141.5. The same idea fits over here for these two angles, the y plus 4 and the 2y plus 11. It's just a different transversal. Shut off the video, go ahead and set up an equation, solve it, then come back and check that it's correct. Seriously, shut off the video or pause the video. Y is 55, and when we plug back in, this one up here is 59, and this angle down here, 110 plus, so 121. Clearly, diagram is not drawn to scale, and that's okay. All right, so that finishes up the notes for section 6.1. Hope you learned something. Your homework's done if you did this, and you can go ahead and do section 6.1 homework for extra credit. Thank you very much. See you on Friday. Bye.